Hello and welcome. So this is the third video of Windows privileges escalation, right? And if you have not watched the previous videos, you should check it out. I will mention the link in the description. Now in this video we will talk about password harvesting, right? So what this means is we will try to find out the password from unusual places on the compromised device that we have got the Recursively. So our job is to find the password that people accidentally left on their machine, right? We will try to find information as much as possible to escalate to a privileged user, right? So first of all, we will check out the unattended installation file. So what are those files? Let me just tell you. So let's assume that there are like 500 computers in a company, right? And let's say you want to install the Windows on all of these 500 computers, right? If the IT person sit in front of each computer and clicking next, it will take him forever, right? So what they do instead is they use some special files, which we will talk in a moment. You know, Microsoft created a system where you make those special text file where you save all of those answers instead of clicking manually. So that specific file lets the window installation do the step automatically. So because of that special file, the IT guy install the Windows on all of the computers automatically. So what's inside in the file is basically they put the admin password and also the username, and sometimes the IT person also put some software keys like licenses. So when the window installation is going and then completed, it will then ask the username and also password, to set the password so that only the authorized person can log into that device. So this is why they put the username, also password, and if they want some software to be installed, and they put their license keys as well. So if we somehow get that file and read the content of it, we can find so much perfect information. The problems come here in this part that after Windows installation, the specific file or special file stay on the hard drive, and the IT staff most likely forget that, and they think we don't need that file anymore, and they just left behind in the hard drive. And this is one of the gold mine for us. Check it out. Let me just tell you one more important point is that these special file will only find incorporated devices. It's very less likely you will find these special file in like a regular user computer, because they don't need to do the automation of stuff. But for the sake of password harvesting, we will also check those files even if they don't exist on the device. It just takes few seconds to check that out. If you can see this image, this is the file extension I was talking about. So the specific paths for that special file is either this one or this one or these and these. So the specific path for those special files one, or it could be in any of those two as well. So what we will be doing exactly is to check out the content of this. If they exist on the device, it will just tell us that yeah, these files exist in these directory. We will then also see the content of this. And just like how we have the get command to see the inside content, we will use the type tool in Windows, because we are discussing the Windows privileges. So we will use the type tool, and it will help us to find out the inside content of the file. Or either we can also use the get content command in the PowerShell. Now let me just open the terminal and we can just check those files out. Alright, so let's say this is the compromised device command prompt, and what we are going to do is to type that exact command and check out those paths that I have told you to check. So assume this is the compromised device term Recursively, and what we are going to do is to find out those specific file and check if those files exist on this compromised device or no. So what we are going to do is to first of all check this path, and this is completely okay. If you don't see the file, it's completely okay. This is just telling you that the file is not found on this device. As I told you, these kind of files are mostly found in the corporate devices and is less likely to be found on regular user devices. Now we will try to check the another path. Let me just copy this thing, and right here as you can see, the file also does not exist on the device. Same we will check. See, this one is also not found, and now we will check this one and this one as well. As you can see, we have not found any of the file, right? And these are all the specific paths for finding those special files where the IT staff put their credential and stuff to make their process automatic. So since we have not found any of those files, what we will now check is to move to another step. which is checking the PowerShell history. So I have already explained the PowerShell history and stuff in the last video I have posted. It's like in third video, I guess. You should check that out, and once you watch this video you can understand this more better. Before going to the let me just show you one more thing. Before moving to the PowerShell history, let me just show you how this file exactly look like. I mean, that might not be 100% like that, but just to give you an example, as you can see right here, this is how the file looks like that we were trying to find but we could not find, right? As you can see right here, this is the password, and also as you can see, this is the unattended right here. As you can see, they don't actually need to interact with this, they just write their stuff in this file and then this process happens automatically. So now we can just move to the PowerShell history, how we can check the PowerShell history and why actually we want to find the PowerShell history. So let's just talk about. So now what we are going to do is, first of all, we will type the PowerShell command so that the PowerShell will be open, and then we will try to find the PowerShell history path, like where the history file is. And once we find out that, we will then read out the content of the history file. So right here, as you can see, I have used this specific command, and this is just a direct way to read out the content of the history file. I have actually showed two methods for finding the history in the previous video, so you should check that out. Now right here, as you can see, these are all of the commands that I have specifically used in the PowerShell, and we can see, first of all, we have typed the ls command. Also, then second one is who am I, then we have typed a bunch of these commands. So right here we are seeing some of the credential, as we are seeing the username and also the password. We must try to log in into this user. What we need to do is to somewhere save these credentials, and then at the end of our credential harvesting, we will then try to log in to this user, and if you are lucky and gets into this user, we will then redo all of the processes that we are doing in this video and we done in the previous videos, just to find out enough information, and then based on the information that we gather, we will then decide what to do. And we also need to check if this user has admin access or no. If this user is an admin, then this is a good chance that we will now get the higher level privileges. Now what we are going to do is we will also further enumerate and check out for the password in usual places. So now what we are going to do is search for the password in the save window credential, like if you know the thing that appears when you are entering the when you are putting the credential and it say remember my password. So next time when you try to log in into that thing, they have already your password, you just have to press enter or OK. Actually they will not ask for the credential again. So we will try to find out those credentials that we actually cannot see easily because they are encrypted and we cannot easily decrypt them, but we can actually use them. But still they are gold mine for us, we can still use them. So now what we are going to do is to type this specific command. Let me just tell you what this means. So the cmdkey means is the Credential Manager, the program on Windows that manages to save all of the credential, and the let's just say that show me all of the saved credential. So right here we are seeing some of the credential that was saved in the Windows credential, and let me just explain this output. So what target is, this is the specific computer or server that the password is saved for. So in this case the password is saved for this device and specifically for this user, and in the second line you can see it just tells us the kind of credential. In this case it's for the domain computer or device, and in the third line this thing right here is just telling us that the credential are for this specific user. Now what we are going to do is use those saved credential and try to open a command prompt for this user. So for that we will actually use this command. So let me just explain what this means. So the run is, as you can see, this just tell us to run a program, and then /save credential, it just using the save credential that we can see right here, and then we are specifying the user, and then we are specifying the program we want to run. So in simple term, we are using the save credential to open the command prompt from this user. Let me just press enter and see if we can open the command prompt or no. As you can see right here, I have pressed the enter, and we have now a command prompt specifically from this user. Now since we are logged in into this user, what we are going to do is to search for the password in the usual places, like specifically on the desktop and download folder or documents folder. So I have used this command to move to the desktop of this user, and what we will do now is to list all of the content that's on the desktop. As you know, this is the Windows and we don't have actually the ls command. What we will use is we will use the dir command, which means directory. So on the desktop we have all these files. So I have pressed enter, and as you can see we have got all of the file that's on the desktop of this user, and we will check this specific file if the password exists or no. If there is something in this specific file that will help us to move to the higher level privileges, we will just note that down and use it later after we complete our enumeration and finding all of the stuff that we can as much as possible. Right here, as you can see, I have used again the type command that will just display the content of this file, and we can see there is a flag that will help us to complete the challenge. So this is how we find the information on the usual places. We actually need to use the same process for checking the password in the usual directory where the user might have stored the passwords or some data that will help us. So now we will move to the step 4 and try to find out the credential in another place. So we will now talk about the IIS or Internet Information Services. So basically, as you can see right here, this is the Microsoft built-in web server software, and most of the time it is turned off by default, but if someone turns it on, it will just run in the background without you knowing it, right? And what we are going to do with this thing is we will try to check the IIS configuration file that is stored on our local device. So right here, as you can see, let's say we move to this specific website and we are trying to log in into this website. What we will do is to enter our password and username, and then we will click on the login to log in into this specific website. So after clicking on the login, what the website does is check the database that if this specific user and with the specific password exists or no. So all of the username and password are stored in the database, and to connect the database with the website basically needs the database credential so that it can authenticate with the database and fetches the data from it, right? And for this Microsoft built-in web server software, the database is this specific file and it's stored on our device. What actually we are going to do is to find a specific file on the device and read the content of this. It might have some database password in plain text. As you can see right here, they have put the database password in this file. So basically there are two different paths for that file. We will check both of them. So the first one we have is this specific path where the web.config file exists. I use this command, but the output is saying that the file is not found on the device. Now we will try to find file on the second path. In the second path we have this path right here. This is the another path for that web.config, and we have also used this thing with this command. So let me just tell you what this is. So this thing right here just mean pipe. So what this pipe does is it just take the output of this command and give it to the second command, which is what we are doing is we are trying to find this specific string in the output of this. So when it reads the web.config and it then searches for this specific string. We can also use term like password and credential or something like that. We have got the answer and confirm that this file exists in this specific directory, and the file was not on this directory, and we have got some result. And right here, as you can see, this is some stuff about the database, and also right here, as you can see, the user ID, which is the name of the user ID actually is the tv_admin, and we can also see the password of the database, which is this specific password, right? We can now actually use this credential to look into the database. We can just note down this credential and use them to get access to the database of the web server and find out what other stuff exists in the database, right? Now the next step is we will be searching for password in the random files, and you know what, in the real pen testing, this is where most of the password are found. So right here, this is a common scenario is that like a boss sends some email and credential to the employee, and what the employee does is he saved all of the credential on his desktop and naming this file like server password.txt or just for the quick reference, right? And same for the developer, they most likely store credential in database underscore credentials, something like these file, right here. As you can see, the files are of different extensions, and we will just specify some of the extension and check them out and see if we can find some information or no. So first of all, we need to open the PowerShell by typing PowerShell in the cmd, so we can have the PowerShell. And now let me just clear the chat so that we don't see the old stuff. And I have also cleared the chat. Now what we will be doing is to use this specific command. The Get-ChildItem is used for, like, it means like get all of the files and folder, and basically a different form of dir that we used on the desktop a few minutes ago. And then we are specifying the path that to search the file in this specific directory, and after that we just specify some of the extension of different files like .txt, docx, and pdf. And this hyphen recurse specifically means is to, there are so many folders inside a folder. It just means to check out every folder inside a folder and every file. And then we are specifying the error action. If for some reason there is some error, we are just telling it to ignore that and continue your process. So let me just press enter and see. Right here, as you can see, we got nothing. Now let's just check on the desktop. On the desktop you are seeing one file. On the desktop we are seeing one file. We should check the content of this file, so we can actually try another directory as well. So in documents there is no any file, and now let's just check another. Same, you are not seeing anything. And yeah, you will have to check all of the usual path, and once you come up with some file that you think the password or credential might be in it, you must check them out, right? And now we will move to the final step, which is about the PuTTY, or it's basically a popular SSH client for Windows. You use that PuTTY to connect to the SSH client on Windows. So how this software works is basically it makes profile, and each of the profile has information like server IP address, port number, the username, and also the proxy setting. Though this is optional, but yeah, if someone wants to configure that, it can just also have the proxy setting. Otherwise it will be just empty, right? So let's say, for example, if someone configures the proxy setting, the PuTTY basically will have the username of the proxy and also the password of the proxy in a plain text that everybody can read, right? So now what we will do is to find out the specific session that the PuTTY saves, and to find that we will make a search query in registry and actually find the PuTTY sessions, and once we find, then we will then also check the proxy setting and configuration, and we will check for the credential, right? So the reg is basically a registry tool. It's for reading, writing the registries, and the query is we are making a query for the registry to find this to go to this specific path in the registry and then find out the PuTTY session. Basically the PuTTY has its own folder, and inside a folder there is also another file or a folder where these sessions are stored. And this /f just mean to find or filter out this specific thing, and we are specifying the proxy to find the proxy in this sessions. And this /s just mean to also search in the subdirectories or subfolder as well. So let's just see what's going to happen. And right here, as you can see, we got some of the result. Now let's just analyze what these things are. All we are seeing, this is specifically the session name, and these are bunch of information related to the proxy settings or configuration. And right here there is also the username and password. So the password we have is this, and also we can see the username we have this, and also the password is this. So now in this case we have got the credential, and this is, as I said, this is the PuTTY is basically a client for SSH connection on the Windows. We can use these credentials to log in into to connect to the SSH and find out more information on that as well, right? And when you are doing the password harvesting, you should also check this thing as well, right? So hope you like this video and understand all of the stuff that I have explained. I will see you in the next video.